Welcome to Design Domination, where you'll learn to become a better, more business-savvy designer so you can dominate your competition. Do you want to stand out from other designers, get taken more seriously, charge more, and win more work? I've done just that. Accessibility has been a game changer for my business. Check out my accessibility courses at creative-boost.com/courses. Hi, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Colleen Grotzer, and in this episode of Design Domination, I'm talking about how many designers should be checking their PDF files, but aren't. Stick around to find out if you're making any of these mistakes and what to do about them. I see a lot of designers thinking they're creating accessible files, PDF files, because they're running the Acrobat accessibility checker when they're finished, when they're done exporting a PDF from InDesign or from Word or another program. But the problem is that the Acrobat accessibility checker is an automated tool that can only detect about 30% of accessibility issues. And sometimes there are false positives. So it is not the be-all, end-all of checking your PDF by any means. Even if your accessibility checker options are all checked, that the permission flag is set, that it's not an image-only PDF, that it's a tagged PDF, the language is specified, etc., it's still only able to detect certain things. And then you have to know how to fix them. First off, every time that you run the checker, it's always going to flag two document issues. It's always going to say that the logical reading order and color contrast need a manual check. And that's because no automated checker can tell if text is in the correct reading order, if something shouldn't be in the reading order, and it can't check the color contrast. It can tell you that it's passed or failed for the presence of a title, but, is it a good title for the document or not? And for alternate text, when it checks for alternate text, it can check that alt text is present on images, but it can't say whether or not that is appropriate alt text or not. And there could be alt text on an image that shouldn't have alt text at all. That should be artifacted because it's decorative. Another thing it checks for is headings. Are they appropriately nested? Well, maybe you have some body text that you've styled as a heading that really shouldn't be a heading, but it passes the checker because the headings are in the correct order. So it can't tell that either. So there's a lot more checking that needs to be done, and a lot of it is manual checking, and some of it can be done in other programs. Some of the manual checking that's important to do is checking the order panel and the tags tree. The reason for checking the reading order in the order panel and the tags tree is because some screen readers go by one and not the other. So if the reading order is correct in both places, you're helping ensure that any screen reader is going to read it properly, as you intended. Because the order that content appears on the page is not the order in which a screen reader is going to read it. Oftentimes, when I'm looking at the order panel in Acrobat of other designers' files, it's all over the place. There are things being read in a nonsensical order, and you've got maybe running headers and footers getting read that even shouldn't be there in the first place being read, and then the text is all in the wrong order, columns are reading in the wrong order, all kinds of things. So someone using a screen reader, if they read that, they're not going to make any sense of that document. So it's always important to check that. And like I said, the other place to check the reading order is in the tags panel. And with the tags, you open the tags panel on the left-hand side and then click on the first tag and then literally walk the tags tree with the down arrow. When you find those kinds of mistakes with the reading order, it's important to go back to the source document if you have one, if you're working from one, and then fix the order there. before you start doing any more of the final work in the PDF. Because otherwise, if you have to fix other things in the source files and go back and re-export the PDF, you don't want to have to do all that work all over again in the PDF. So oftentimes it's better to go back to the source file to fix those things. The Acrobat checker, like I said, it's not the end of the process. It's the troubleshooting process. And for example, I use it throughout the process. And only when I know that I've corrected all the errors that could appear there and checked the reading order in both places, then I move on to another checker that is more comprehensive. And that's the Pack 3 checker. There are other checkers as well, but I use the Pack 3 checker. And that checks against the PDF UA standard. The Pack 3 checker is free and it's for Windows only, but it's supposed to be coming out for Mac as well. So if you're a Mac user, you're going to need to get an old PC somewhere, or you're going to need to run Windows on your Mac with Parallels or VirtualBox or Boot Camp. So after using the Acrobat Accessibility Checker and going back to, say, InDesign, if that's what you're using, or Word, and fixing those issues, then you can make sure you pass the Acrobat Accessibility Checker and then go run that PDF in Pack 3 and correct the errors that are found there. Now with Pack 3, a lot of the time you can use an Acrobat pre-flight setting to fix some of those things, or you can use other software to do that, and you can't always go back to the source file to fix those things. It's just how it is, and you have to do that work in the PDF or with a repair program. I hope you found this helpful. If you're interested in learning more about document accessibility and how to check your files and how to fix them, don't miss Creative Pro Week from May 17th to the 21st this year. I'll be speaking on time-saving InDesign practices that you're probably avoiding, some of them pertaining to accessibility, and I'm also doing a talk called Essential Tools and Services for Accessibility. My mentor, Bevi Chagnon, and my friends Dax Castro and Chad Chelius will also be presenting on document accessibility. You can save $100 off a multi-day pass with code CPWCG. Find out more at creativeproweek.com. Accessibility has been a game changer for my business. If you want to learn how you can charge more, stand out from other designers, and win more work, go to creative-boost.com/courses to check out my accessibility courses for designers and for web developers.